In this video we're going to deal with motivation theory, and more particularly with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now this is quite a famous model in the literature on management. It deals with the motivations of individuals according to a hierarchical structure ranging from the satisfaction of basic needs right through to higher order needs. And Maslow considered this to be a good explanation for the way in which we go about our daily tasks. So let's look at it in more detail. Maslow carried out his work roughly between 1939 and 1943. Those were the peak years for this type of development, and we associate this as being the time when he was probably most active in the area. He suggested that there are 5 sets of goals, which may be called the basic needs. So people have 5 goals, and these are called basic needs. And these are physiological, and we'll talk about that in a moment, safety, love, esteem, and what he called self-actualization or self-fulfilment. Now he arranged these into a series of different levels of the order of importance for these basic needs. So they're into different levels according to their importance. So he grouped these needs in a hierarchical structure to represent their importance. So man's basic needs are physiological, for example, hunger, thirst, sleep, etc. So we have got very basic needs, and these must be fulfilled before all else. So if we're hungry, we have an impulse to eat. We have a desire to acquire food, and that drives us. That's what motivates us. So we haven't got higher order needs. When we're hungry, we don't want to sit down and listen to a piece of music necessarily. We want to satisfy our hunger. If we're thirsty, we want a drink. We don't want to paint a picture. So what we want to do is to satisfy our basic needs first. So we have these basic needs. When these are satisfied, they're replaced by safety needs, reflecting the desire for protection against danger or deprivation. So once we've satisfied our hunger and our thirst, we then want security. We want safety. We want a safe place to live. We want protection from the elements, from the weather. We want a place to be warm and comfortable. We don't want to we don't want to live in a society that's violent, or we're going to be threatened. We want to secure our food supply as well. We want to secure the access to water and so on. So we have safety needs. So once we've satisfied our immediate need, hunger, thirst, sleep, and so on, we then move on to trying to get a more long-run satisfaction for those needs in terms of safety. These in turn, when satisfied, are replaced by the need for love or belonging to, which are functions of man's desire to belong to a group, to give and receive friendship, and to associate happily with people. We are social creatures, and we want to mix with others, and we want to belong to a group. We don't want to be ostracized and cast out and be lonely and isolated. We want to participate with others. We want to be involved with others. So we have this desire to mix with others, and this is what Maslow called this desire for love. But in this case, it's mixing with others. It's being members of clubs and societies, and it's fulfilling our social needs. When these needs have been met, there is the esteem needs, or there are the esteem needs. The desire for self-esteem and self-respect, which are affected by a person's standing, his reputation or her reputation, the need for recognition and appreciation. Esteem is once we've got our basic needs in place and we feel secure and we've now mixing with others, we move on to wanting a good reputation amongst our colleagues and our friends, and we want to be seen as a person with self-respect, and it's our reputation within the community. So this is what we try to advance, and that's a need. Finally, individuals have a need for what he called self-actualization, or a desire for self-fulfilment, which is an urge by individuals for self-development, creativity and job satisfaction. This is the point where the person is happy, the person is content, they have achieved all they've set out to achieve, they have access to all the basic needs, security, but they also belong to a group, they have a good reputation, and they feel secure and they feel happy. They have achieved. So there's nothing more for them to do. In the past, management reward systems have attempted to satisfy an individual's lower level needs for safety and physiological security, for protection against deprivation and the threat to a worker or his or her family. So in the past, management focused in on making sure that the workers earned enough to buy food and drink and have some shelter, have a place to live. Very basic. And if you go back through the literature on the Industrial Revolution, wages paid to workers were very, very low, and just enabled the workers to survive. But then management over the years started to change, and it recognized that if the workers were better fed and better looked after, they would be more productive, more committed to the organization, less absenteeism, more involvement, more enthusiasm. So they started to pay more. And then they recognized that people were complex and they needed to have motivations in different directions. They needed to be recognized for their contribution, and so on. So we have this emergence of our ideas about how to motivate workers. But it all really starts with very basic needs. And to that end, it's fair to say that Maslow made a significant contribution by just indicating this hierarchy of needs, indicating that we do want basic needs fulfilled. And we do want those fulfilled before the others, the higher order needs. As I said, we're not going to sit down and listen to music if we're very hungry or very thirsty. The chances are we're going to try and resolve the hunger and the thirst first. Then we will listen to music if that's appropriate later. But we're not going to do it as a starting point. We have a hierarchy of needs. Basic needs fulfilled first. However, management reward systems are now, or should be, endeavouring to satisfy the individual's higher level needs for esteem and self-fulfilment. And we see this within organisations. We now know that organisations are more supportive, and there are HR departments dedicated to improving the working lives of the workers and making sure that the workers are engaged and informed, and there's consultative processes to take their opinions into account, and it's much more collaborative and much more involved. So they are now much higher up the scale of needs that Maslow considered. The fulfillment of these needs motivates an individual to perform work and meet their own or other ends, objectives or goals they desire to achieve. So once a person has climbed up the ladder, in a sense, once a person has climbed up this hierarchy of needs, gone up to higher level needs, the the needs which have been achieved, they will be consolidated. The person will attempt to consolidate. That's a part of the security need. And once they're consolidated, the person will feel more at ease, and it'll free up mentally his or her capacity to make a contribution higher up, but also will expand the person's interests and enable the person to have a much more humanistic existence. Let's look at this in terms of the way it's traditionally represented. This is the Maslow approach. And here we're going to look at, as I said earlier, there are 5 points. Now, in fact, there are 5 different categories of needs according to the basic Maslow ideas, but we can change these around, and a lot of writers have added some have gone up to 7, and so on. So there are different approaches to looking at it. Let's just look at what we've got in terms of the structure of needs. And we start with the physiological needs, which we talked about earlier. The need for food, water, shelter and clothing. And these are the most basic. These must be solved first. After that we move to security needs, the needs for social and family security that protects against hunger and violence and also provides shelter, a place to live, shelter from bad weather and the cold and so on. So the security needs, and these are built upon the physiological needs. And when the security needs are met, we move to love and belonging needs. The need to belong to a group, to interact with others and to have friendships. Because, as I said, we are social creatures. So now we've moved from physiological security up to love and belonging. And then we move to esteem. Enjoy self-respect and general esteem from others. And we have this need to be respected by others and to have proper friendships where people admire the things you say and the things you do, and you admire what they do. It's having friendships. It's interacting. It's being human. It's being social. Then a life of purpose, having a purpose to your life, realizing inner potential, realizing what you can do, and we have different capacities to do different tasks, realizing those capacities and having a purpose in life, trying to achieve something. And finally, the need for self-actualization, the need for satisfaction, the need for completion, that the person has achieved everything that he or she wants to achieve. All of the other needs are met, and at that point the person is truly happy. That's the self-actualized person at the top. Now if you look at this triangle or pyramid, you can see here we've got 6 different levels. I said earlier Maslow had 5, and I said different writers just break up some of the needs into 2 parts, or perhaps merge some of the needs into 1 part. So different writers may have a different number. In fact, what I'm going to do in just the remaining few slides of this video is to look at different ways in which this triangle can be composed. But here we've got a 2, 4, a 6 one, a 6-point Maslow triangle. Let's look at a different configuration. It's exactly the same sequence, except some writers may have broken up one of them into 2 parts, or may have merged 2 into 1 part, but the sequence is still the same. Basic needs, physiological needs at the bottom, self-actualization at the top, and the rest coming in between, roughly in the sequence that we've got here. But let's look at a different configuration just to illustrate this. Again, the triangle. So here we have biological and physiological needs. Essentials for life needs: air, food, drink, shelter, warmth, sex, sleep, and so on. Basic biological, physiological needs. On top of that, safety needs: protection, security, order, law, limits, stability. So these accord with the previous triangle. Well, in fact, everything here will accord with it. It's just, as I said, some may be broken up into others or merged. So here we have the biological and physiological needs met first. We have this need to satisfy our hunger and our thirst and our shelter and so on. So we have those resolved at the very start, the most basic needs. Then on top of this, we have the safety needs: protection, security, order, law, limits, stability. We want this. We want to feel secure in our environment. We want to be able to go about our tasks and feel secure. Then we have these belongingness and love needs: family, affection, relationships, work groups. We want to belong to clubs and societies, and we want to mix with groups. We want to have friendships. We want to be able to talk to people and find out what they're thinking and what they've discovered, and exchange information and be friendly. We have this need. We are social creatures. And then we've got esteem needs: achievement, status, responsibility, reputation. Once we're mixing in groups, then we want to be recognized within the group. We want to be popular. We want to have status. We want to have responsibility. We want to take on tasks, to have a reputation. And then finally, we have self-actualization, which is personal growth and fulfilment. Now you'll see here, this particular triangle has got 5 different points. Previous one had 6. We just lost one, but the same structure is in place, the same importance to the various areas, and they appear in the same place on the triangle. Just as I said, some writers break up some of the needs into perhaps 2 parts, so we'll get, instead of getting 5, we get 6. There is one which is very detailed, which we'll just have a look at to finish, and this, would you believe, is a 7-point hierarchy of needs diagram based on Maslow's theory. Now this one's 7, so let's just have a look briefly at what this one looks like. Again, biological and physiological needs at the bottom, same as the previous one. Basic life needs: air, food, drink, shelter, warmth, sex, sleep, and so on. Same as the previous one. And then we have safety needs. There again, the same: protection, security, law, order, limits, stability. We want to live in a place where we have shelter, we have a home, we're protected from the weather, we have a place to sleep and it's secure, we can sleep at ease. We want to be able to go about our tasks in society, not feel threatened. So we have safety needs. Then we have the belongingness and love needs: family, affection, relationships, work groups. We want to belong to work groups. As I said earlier, we're social creatures, so we want to belong. Belongingness. Yeah, sorry, esteem. Esteem needs: achievement, status, responsibility, and reputation. Once we're members of groups, we want to be recognized within the group. We don't want to be ordinary members of the group. We want to make contributions and ensure the continued membership of the group, and perhaps get status within the group for some particular talent or skill or some function. Now we have cognitive needs. This is a new one. Again, what the reader has done here is broken down other needs and inserted these. And cognitive needs: knowledge, meaning, self-awareness. And we do have a need for that. We do want to know what's going on. We are curious creatures. We want to know what's happening in the universe. We want to understand the the science of what's happening around us. We want things explained. So we do have cognitive needs. We want to know. And that's just the type of people we are. And that fits on top of the esteem needs. This is something where it's higher order. We want to study, we want to learn, we want to find out, we want to discuss issues and debate issues and get to the core of what's happening. Sorry, I keep going in the wrong direction. Aesthetic needs. Well, we have a need to admire beauty and balance and form. We do like music. We like works of art. We like sculptures and fine art, and we like ballet and dance, and we like lots of different things. We like to see performing arts, and so we have got this aesthetic need. We have the need. It's removed from our daily lives. It's something different, but we like it. And as you can see, it's very close to the top. We would only want to meet our aesthetic needs if all the other needs are met. If the other needs are not met, we're not going to worry about our aesthetic needs. We are not going to sit down and listen to music if we're very hungry. Chances are we are going to satisfy our hunger, then we would listen to music. So the physiological need must be met first. The safety need must be met before we would engage in a lot of time with aesthetic needs, and so on. So you can see aesthetic needs are very close to the top. And finally, of course, self-actualization. The sense that everything's been achieved. In the sense all the boxes have been ticked, to use an expression. All the other needs are met. The person feels happy, contented, fulfilled, sense of satisfaction. And that's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This particular one is a 7 level, but as I said, 5, 7, 6, whatever. The point is that they must run according to the importance of the needs, with the most basic needs at the bottom, which must be fulfilled first. And that's all we need to do on Maslow and his view of motivation. So let's leave it at that and say thank you for watching.